Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study night. It's the 5th of March, 2026. Okay, I'll be playing a video and dealing with Noah and the fallen. I had some things I heard on there that I wanted to play it and then we'll talk about it. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, Israel Wake Up, and check out our videos. We have over 200 or so videos that you can look at, examine, get the meat out. All these videos and lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Okay, we have our cash app at the bottom of the screen for those that want to support this channel and help it move along. Okay, uh, this is a non-Messianic channel. For those that don't know, we deal with the Tanakh or the Torah only. We don't deal with the New Testament. Tanakh being the Old Testament and the Torah being the first 5 books of the Old Testament. This channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up to their true identity and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms. We have a women's health moment with Michelle, current events. We have some need to know information. Then we'll open it up for anybody with questions, any comments, any dialogue, testimonies. And then our topic for discussion is uh, dealing with the effects that this recent war that just started, uh, that its effect to have on Africa, okay, and potentially becoming World War III. And then our scripture reading, like I said, we'll be dealing with a video, Noah and the fallen, right? Play it and then we'll talk about it. And we'll pick a scripture and we'll break that scripture down and really divide it before we close out. Okay. So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we thank you for your great mercy and your great power and wisdom. And we tarry waiting for your powerful deliverance of your people Israel. Oh Lord, you have given us insight into the scriptures of our forefathers. And you, O Lord, has directed us to who you are and your role in the goings on of heaven and earth. And we are doubtless this day that you will appear and that you will gather your nation from among these wicked Gentiles. Okay. Tearing out, O Lord, the latter days are here, and we are waiting and watching for you. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, we have read the Psalms.
Shalom, brother, and shalom, everyone. I'll be reading out of the book of Psalms, chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in dispersion. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thy inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Verse 9, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's house. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all that put their trust in him. And that was chapter 2 of the book of Psalms. Shalom.
Okay, got anything on that?
That this when it says the king, they're talking about King David. I'm going to ask a question there when they talk about on 6. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Is that King David?
Yeah, Psalm of David. Yeah.
Okay. And is this during the time of Saul? When when they were trying to get a king after Saul had died and his son was they rejected him.
Rejected who?
The son to be the king.
No, this is why David wrote this while he was king.
And they were rejecting him.
Rejecting the Lord of hosts.
No, David, because it says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?" Well, can you explain that verse 1 there?
Oh, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? They it's the same way when Tower Valley. He says that
Mhm.
the imagination of man's mind is continually evil. So
Okay,
instead of doing the right thing, instead of keeping the law, they imagine vain things.
okay.
Okay.
Shalom. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So with that being said, we go to our women's health moment with Michelle. Okay.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on broadleaf plantain. Broadleaf plantain is often dismissed as a common weed, yet it has been cherished for its medicinal benefits throughout history. Found worldwide in gardens, yards, and along roadsides, this adaptable herb has played a vital role in traditional healing practices for generations. With its wide oval leaves and green flower spikes, broadleaf plantain has long been a staple in natural medicine. Many people may not realize just how versatile broadleaf plantain is. Packed with vitamins A, C, and K, as well as calcium and potassium. This plant offers numerous health benefits. Broadleaf plantain has traditionally been used to soothe insect bites, ease skin irritations, and aid digestion. It can be prepared as a tea or applied topically, each method offering unique advantages. The plant also helps support the immune system by strengthening the body's natural defense. Broadleaf plantain is simple to grow at home, thriving with minimal attention, whether planted in gardens or containers. Its many uses and low maintenance nature make it an excellent choice for anyone interested in natural remedies. Broadleaf plantain provides a variety of health advantages that contribute to well being. Its uses are extensive, including anti inflammatory benefits, support for digestive health, respiratory support, and skin healing abilities. This plant is particularly effective at aiding skin repair thanks to the vitamins and antioxidants it contains, which encourage faster recovery and lower the chance of infection. Excuse me. Broadleaf plantains are effective for managing persistent skin rashes and supporting general skin wellness. Its antioxidant properties further contribute to its reputation as a valuable source of promoting overall health. Broadleaf plantain has shown me just how powerful nature's healing abilities can be. Often dismissed, this simple herb offers numerous advantages for health. Its impressive nutritional value and long history make it clear that broadleaf plantains should be part of any natural remedy collection. Remember, our Creator, the Lord of hosts, has given us everything we need for life. I will be reading scriptures from Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 through 31. Verse 29, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in thee which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Verse 30, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life. I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Verse 31, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Tonight's discussion was on broadleaf plantain, and I read from the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verses 29 through 31. Shalom.
Okay, appreciate that information. We're gonna go to our current events. Okay, here we go.
Something just happened in Kuwait that the American government does not want trending. A U.S. Marine Corps base, Camp Arifian, was hit by a drone strike. And the numbers coming out of that base, the casualty figures, the damage reports, the silence from Washington, all of it points to something far more alarming than what's being reported on mainstream television. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this moment is a turning point, not just for the Middle East, but for every economy, every market, and every citizen watching this from home. This is economy fail, and this is the story they're hoping gets buried under tomorrow's news cycle. Well, let's set the scene. Camp Arifjan sits in the Kuwaiti desert about 45 miles south of Kuwait City. It is one of the largest and most strategically critical U.S. military installations in the entire Gulf region. This isn't some forward operating base in the middle of nowhere. This is a command and logistics hub. It processes troops, equipment, ammunition, and intelligence coordination for the entire U.S. military posture in the Middle East. When something hits Camp Arifjan, it's not a symbolic gesture. It's a direct strike at the central nervous system of American military power in the Gulf. Now, drone warfare has changed the game completely. I want you to understand this before we go any further, because the way most people think about drones is completely wrong. They picture a small buzzing device, maybe something you'd fly at a birthday party. What we're actually talking about are military-grade unmanned aerial systems capable of carrying explosive payloads, evading radar signatures, flying in coordinated swarms, and striking with precision. And the economic asymmetry of drone warfare is one of the most devastating financial imbalances in modern military history. We'll come back to that because it's one of the most important parts of this entire story. But first, let's talk about what actually happened and what the discrepancies in reporting tell us about the information war happening in parallel with the physical one. Reports from regional sources and military analysts monitoring the situation indicate that drones were used in a coordinated assault on Camp Arifjan. Iranian-backed forces and Iranian state media have made specific claims about the scale of the attack, the number of personnel affected, and the damage done to infrastructure. Now, I'm not going to present those claims as verified facts because that's not responsible journalism, but here's where it gets interesting. When you look at the gap between what Iran is claiming and what Washington is officially acknowledging, that gap is enormous. And historically, that kind of gap, that silence, tells its own story. We saw this pattern before. In January 2020, after the strike on the Ain al-Assad air base in Iraq, the US initially said there were 0 casualties. 0. Then over the following weeks, that number quietly climbed to over 100 service members diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries. The Pentagon didn't lie outright. They just let the original number sit in the public consciousness. While the actual figures slowly surfaced in military health reports, nobody was watching. This is how information management works in wartime. You don't need to fabricate, you just need to delay. So when we see massive discrepancies right now between what Iranian military sources are claiming and what's being officially acknowledged in Washington, the reasonable response is not to take either number at face value. The reasonable response is to watch the pattern. Watch what surfaces in the coming days. Watch what members of Congress start saying behind closed doors. Watch what the insurance and risk markets do. Because markets don't lie. Markets price in reality even when governments won't speak it. And the markets right now are telling a very uncomfortable story. Gold has been surging, not just a little. We're talking about a dramatic flight to safety by institutional investors who don't trust the stability of the current geopolitical moment. Oil price volatility has spiked. Defense sector stocks are moving, but consumer confidence indicators are starting to flash warning signs because war is inflationary. War disrupts supply chains. War in the Gulf specifically threatens one of the most important shipping corridors on Earth, the Strait of Hormuz. And if that strait gets even partially disrupted, you will feel it at the gas pump within days. You will feel it in food prices within weeks, because nothing moves without fuel, and fuel prices cascade through every single sector of the economy. So that when the truly significant strike comes, there's less left to stop it. Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, acknowledged publicly that American missile production capacity is limited. He referenced a figure: the US can produce somewhere in the range of a handful of interceptor missiles per month. Meanwhile, the production capacity on the other side, drones, rockets, asymmetric weapons, is measured in thousands per month. The math here is not complicated. If you're burning through expensive interceptors to neutralize cheap drones, you cannot replace those interceptors faster than they're being depleted. You are on the losing side of an economic equation, regardless of how technologically superior your individual weapon systems are. Genuine operational challenges with no clean answers. Meanwhile, the American public is watching this unfold with a mixture of anxiety, confusion, and fatigue. Polling data consistently shows that large majorities of Americans, somewhere in the range of 80%, depending on the specific question, are opposed to the United States being drawn into another major military conflict in the Middle East. That's not a partisan number. That's a broad bipartisan exhaustion with decades of military engagement that has cost trillions of dollars, tens of thousands of American lives, and produced deeply ambiguous outcomes. And yet, here we are. The machinery of escalation has its own momentum. Once assets are deployed, once bases are struck, once American military personnel are killed or injured on foreign soil, the political pressure to respond becomes enormous. Not responding looks weak. Responding risks escalation. And in that bind, decision makers often choose escalation by default because the domestic political cost of appearing weak feels more immediate than the long-term cost of a war that hasn't fully started yet. This is the...
So Iran said that they hit the Marine base in Kuwait, and the casualties was 100, but America is saying no. Anybody heard anything about that? Okay.
Shalom.
So,
No, sir. I'm sorry. No, sir, I haven't heard about that. But as I was listening to him, he said Uncle Rubio. So, being that he is a Republican, because he said Uncle Rubio, and then when he said about the brain um, casualties of the soldiers having brain problems, and I would think of like what brought to my mind is when they did this thing over in um, not Puerto Rico, when they went over and got the president from his place, and they did that drone strike and had everybody uh, supposed to have been killed, and they could have done it without that sonic boom. I
Okay.
wonder if that was part of that brain problem that these soldiers are having that they didn't say anything about until later.
Yeah, I think it's PTSD what they're talking about. That happens to a lot of soldiers. They come back, they think they're good, and the next thing you know, they commit suicide. That was happening a lot after Iraq and after Iraq War and the one before that. I mean, when during first Bush, they have, and even today, they have a major problem with uh, PTSD. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Shalom. Yes, sir. You were saying that they're not saying about how many that were killed, but that news said like 100. But in here, I looked on the web and it's just saying 6 soldiers. So obviously they're not, saying the right numbers because it's just saying 6. But like we know, it's probably more.
Exactly. They don't want America to think that they losing. Okay. So here we go.
Now, with tensions continuing to rise with Iran, security experts are warning the American people that the greatest threat to the American people, other than the financial well-being, isn't going to be a missile strike. It's going to be a cyber attack. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the steps that you should be taking and that experts are telling Americans. Do this now to prepare for a possible cyber attack, because a cyber attack could impact us overnight. This could impact our lights, it could impact our internet, it could impact our electricity, it could impact our water supply, our transportation, and so many different things. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But if you have yet to prepare for a possible cyber attack, whether it's Iran, China, Russia, or any other country, this is a video you need to watch. But before I get to it, all I ask is if you enjoy these daily updates, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. And now there's no confirmed major cyber attacks, but what we have seen, okay, and again, this is scary because this is something that we all have to be ready for. Look at this. It says banking and payment services disrupted after Amazon UAE data center hit in drone strikes. This is serious. Amazon's data center, which will not be operational for quite some time after the fire and the flood as a result of those sprinklers trying to pretty much get rid of the fire, well, these are going to create lasting impacts. I want to show you something else, though. Listen to this.
Disrupt and overwhelm everything from banking to healthcare systems. Experts believe right now Iran and its proxies are weighing their options when it comes to cyber attacks. But here at FBI headquarters, teams have been working around the clock, knowing for the first time since 1979, Iran is backed in a corner.
And that's a terrible place to be. With Iran backed in a corner, what is going to happen to the American people? What is going to happen to the rest of the world as well? Who is going to feel the impacts the most? And I talked about this the other day, that the American people are going to feel this financially. There's going to be some threats made to the U.S. homeland. There's going to be threats made to Americans abroad. But financially, that's where we're going to feel the most impact. But the concern is Iran going to target the United States with a cyber attack? Well, listen to this expert.
How real is the possibility of Iran taking some action based on history? What kind of capabilities do they have?
Well, historically, maybe 10, 12 years ago, they did have some pretty substantial ability. They took out a couple of websites entirely. These days, Iran has been a much smaller player for the most part. We're all concerned that maybe they're going to turn off the lights or something like that. But it seems like, well, first of all, we have to remember that Iran has almost no internet access from the country right now. And so their ability to actually physically make an internet connection at all is pretty limited. And a lot of their military capabilities are also degraded. So we don't really know how many hackers they have in waiting right now who are acting.
One of the other things you need to keep in mind is that, again, we don't know what Iran has the capability of doing at this time, okay? But the concern right now is that, again, they're backed into this corner. I want to show you something, okay? I want to show you something, though. Listen to this right here, okay? Because, again, what is Iran going to do? How are they going to impact us? Well, here's what we know. And these are some of the things that, again, I try to stay on top of things. I try to remain prepared. So these are some of the things that I have done personally in order to prevent any disruption if we do experience a cyber attack. The first one is to protect all of your personal accounts. Do that. Go and change the password. Enable multi-factor authentication. Go and do that. Make sure that it's not easy to get into every single one of your accounts. Don't use the same password across all your different accounts. Across your bank account, your email, your Facebook account. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. That's the first thing I did. The second thing, keep all your devices updated. Now, what we're hearing from experts is that if you regularly update your devices, this is going to patch any of the vulnerabilities, prevent malware, infections on your devices. Again, whether it's phone, it's your laptop, your desktop, your TVs, everything. Go and update them when an update is available.
In the United Arab.
So if you tried to put a CD
in Bahrain were struck by drones. What do we know about
That's remarkable, right? This is, I believe, the first time we've ever had the case that a major American data center, major American internet provider has had severely degraded service in a region in the Middle East. Amazon is saying that we have much less capability to do most of our services right now in this area because of 3 drone strikes, 2 in, like I said, 2 in UAE and one indirect one in Bahrain. And they say the service is not going to fully restore for a very long time. There's massive fires. They have water damage from putting out the fires. And that's just the beginning of this,
So you heard it right there. That is just the beginning of this. Now, I'm not here to tell you that a cyber attack is 100%, it's imminent, it's happening. But according to experts, they say that is the most likely scenario, that Iran doesn't really have the capabilities to successfully hit the United States with a missile from Iran. Iran is struggling to send missiles even to Israel because they're getting shot down before they even get there. So what is the likelihood that Iran can take a missile?
Yeah, so notice that everybody, these are nutbugs steady saying they in denial. These people, these Iranians have lit up the whole Middle East, and they keep talking about trying to degrade them, saying that they don't have these capabilities, they don't have this capabilities and all that. And what's being said on the news is not adding up with what we're looking at, what's really happening. Anybody have any feedback on that?
Shalom, everyone. When he was speaking about cyber attack, and then he mentioned that they don't have internet, maybe there are someone stationed here in the U.S. So they could have, immigrants came over, so they could have someone here in the U.S. and they don't have to be there to do a cyber attack on the U.S. That was my thought when you
Plus,
mentioned that.
sleeper cells, yeah, exactly. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Shalom alaikum, everyone. Brother Leonard, yesterday, you had played a clip that talked about um, Africans or African Americans, excuse me, that were let go. And conveniently, and not this time around, but conveniently, the U.S. doesn't speak. I don't think any nation would blatantly just start telling everyone losses they're taking. But if you look at the news from Iran, just like we come back or we have leaders from the United States that comes back and tell us things that they've demolished or hit, Iran's doing the same thing. And according
Okay.
to their news, they hit a U.S. embassy. So when we hear talks of things like what was just played, I agree. Everybody's downplaying things, or they already just got mixed information that's completely incorrect. Um, there's been people, leaders from other nations that have decided to join the war, and there's been nations that have decided not to because they think it's too nasty, and they blatantly keep saying Iran's not going to back down and it's going to be too nasty. So they wouldn't say those things with this utter belief that Iran has no capability. Other
Exactly.
nations wouldn't join just like nobody helped militarily wise, and no one helped Israel. We saw what Gaza and Israel didn't have. Nobody knows what Iran has. If they knew, the strait would have never been closed. If they just had no capability of blasting ships, how could the strait be closed? And they
Exactly.
haven't been in a war. They've just been building things.
Exactly. Right. And like I said, when you look at it, it's not adding up with what they're telling us because they would be moving forward, but they're not moving forward. They're backing up. It's as if they walked into a cave and it's grizzly bear in there, and they backing out. That's what it seems like to me. Because if they were so undermanned and didn't have the proper what they needed, they would have been went in and been subduing them and all that. Just like they did with Venezuela. They're not doing that. They're not doing that with Iran. It's the opposite. Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom. I know they know that Iran has a lot of martyrs. They will sacrifice their life. They will plant people in to bomb. They're good with bombing themselves and getting in there. And again, like you say, I agree. If they were going to do what they're talking about, like they did Venezuela, they would have been did it. But it's not. They're not jumping on that bandwagon right now.
Right. Exactly.
Shalom, to piggyback on what was just stated, according to Iran, the reason why their supreme leader was assassinated is because he was old, weak, sick, and dying of cancer. According to them, after he said all those things he said, because of the threats that President Trump made about how it will begin a war, he decided not to go into a safety bunker. According to them, he literally did exactly what she said. What Sister Jay said. He literally became a martyr. And then Iran apparently has 4 people lined up to take the place of the next people. So all these people that they said they killed, there's a line of 4 more people to replace them.
Exactly.
And they already think Israel is little Satan. He didn't say we're going to have a war unplanned. Oh, they've been planning for this. They've been planning for it.
Right. They keep saying it over and over 20 years they've been planning. And then they already have another supreme leader already. I saw that today. So it's not adding up with what the media is saying, American media, and what we're looking at. Like I said, they got a replacement today. Okay. Yeah. So nobody else have anything. We're gonna go to our need to know information is tied to. Let's check it out. Okay, here we go. This ties into what I was saying about how you understand everything is about the temple and these people, they super slick. Check them out.
A troubling question is beginning to circulate across the Middle East.
Check it out.
Is the current war with Iran a plot by U.S. Israel to draw Gulf nations into a conflict that may ultimately leave them alone on the battlefield? That warning comes from Saudi journalist and political analyst Advane al-Ahmari, the editor-in-chief of Independent Arabia, who raised serious concerns during a televised interview this week.
Check it out.
Speaking to Asharq News in Riyadh, Ahmari suggested that not every attack targeting Gulf states may necessarily come directly from Iran. Instead, he said, a growing hypothesis circulating among regional observers suggests the war itself may be designed to pull Gulf countries deeper into the confrontation. According to Ahmari, some analysts believe the conflict could be an American-Israeli strategy to implicate Gulf allies in the fight. The fear, he suggested, is that regional states could become frontline participants while Washington later declares victory and steps away. Ahmari described a scenario in which the United States might announce within weeks that its objectives had been achieved. If that happened, Gulf states could find themselves facing an open confrontation with Iran without the full backing of Washington. Such fears reflect what Ahmari described as a growing erosion of trust between the United States and members of the Gulf Cooperation Council. The concerns come amid a swirl of unverified claims and conspiracy theories circulating online and in regional media. Among them are allegations that intelligence agents linked to Israel may have
Tucker Carlson.
attempted operations designed to provoke wider escalation. Ahmari referenced claims promoted by political commentator Tucker Carlson, suggesting that Saudi Arabia and Qatar had arrested alleged Mossad agents planning attacks. Those claims remain unverified, but the mere circulation of such allegations highlights the level of anxiety now spreading through the region. Ahmari also argued even dramatic military actions against Iran may not fundamentally alter the balance of power. He pointed specifically to the Islamic Revolutionary Corps, widely known as the IRGC. The IRGC is not simply another military formation. It is an elite ideological force created to defend Iran's ruling system and maintain the country's revolutionary political order. Unlike Iran's conventional armed forces, the Guard Corps operates as both a military and political institution. Ahmari warned that removing individual leaders or damaging parts of Iran's military infrastructure would not necessarily dismantle that structure. In his view, the IRGC would eventually rebuild its capabilities and emerge stronger. He argued that even eliminating Iran's supreme leader would have limited impact if the Guard Corps remained intact. Similarly, he said, destroying parts of Iran's nuclear program would not permanently weaken the system that supports it. According to Ahmari, the real question facing Washington's allies is far more fundamental. What exactly are the United States' objectives in the war with Iran? And how long is the conflict expected to last? When the campaign began, President Donald Trump suggested it could be completed within 4 to 5 days. That timeline quickly shifted. Officials then suggested the operation might last 4 to 5 weeks. Now, according to recent remarks from U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the campaign could be open-ended.
Iran cannot outlast us. We're going to ensure through violence of action and our offensive capabilities and our defensive capabilities, as I said, that we set the tone and the tempo of this fight. That's why stories and speculation about different things that try to make it look like we're limited in what we can do. The only limits we have in this is President Trump's desire to achieve specific effects on behalf of the American people. And that's why we don't talk about, you can say 4 weeks, but it could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 3. Ultimately, we set the pace and the tempo. The enemy is off balance, and we're going to keep them off balance. And we know their ability to shoot versus our ability to defend. That difference gets wider and wider every day. Our defense gets better, their offensive capabilities diminish. As we are going into ammunitions that we, as we said, have tens of thousands of and can drop unlimited supplies on with even more effects than the standoff missions we have now, which is why when we say the throttle's going up, the throttle's going up and it's going to stay on high. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
For Ahmari, that uncertainty creates a dangerous strategic vacuum. Not only are regional allies unsure of the end game, he said, but even members of the U.S. Congress appear to lack clarity about the administration's objectives. At the same time, Iran has continued launching strikes targeting Gulf countries that host American military facilities. For Gulf states watching from the front lines, the stakes could not be higher. If the conflict expands, they may find themselves at the center of a regional war. Washington steps back.
Okay, so what this Saudi reporter is saying is that Mossad is attacking a lot of these countries, and they got people thinking, they got the world thinking, and these Arab countries thinking that Iran is shooting them. Like for example, which it didn't make sense to me anyway when I first heard it, how they say Iran is shooting and blowing up commercial property, schools, stuff like that. So it's not Iran, Mossad doing it, and they turning all these Muslim countries against each other. Got everybody thinking that Iran's shooting a lot of missiles, but they're not shooting a lot of them not being shot by Iran. It's Israel doing it, which makes a lot of sense to me when you understand what their end game is. Anybody got any comments on that? What you think?
Shalom, everyone. So, geographically speaking, can they, the things that's going, the bombing that's shooting out, are they able to do that from where they are? And if they're not able to do it, then obviously someone else is doing it, because their missiles can miss so many, one area and get to another area, then how are they getting that missile to hit those areas if they're on the other side? You know, that's my thinking. If geographically, they should see how it's coming to them and not from everything coming from Iran.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Um, in response to what Sister Cheryl said, so Iran admittedly did hit Cyprus, which is very close to Turkey. It's an island um, north of Egypt, basically, right before you get to Turkey. It's in the middle. They
Right.
admittedly did that. And Turkey was hit by a missile. And everybody has been saying it's Iran. And Iran basically said exactly what Brother Leonard, what you were saying, that we don't have a reason to hit Turkey. Why would we be? And so
Exactly.
they did. The problem is, I believe, exactly, Brother Leonard, what you played earlier, is people are not willing to admit the power that Iran actually has. Or
Exactly.
they don't want to admit it and they know it, or they're clueless. So if you can hit Cyprus and miss Egypt, you can actually reach Egypt if you wanted to, or Turkey, which is right next door.
Exactly.
And
They all
but they had no. Yes, sir.
well, I say they all of them are in the Middle East. It ain't like they can't reach them.
Yes,
They
sir.
all in the same area. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Shalom. So with that being said, then Iran is doing it, and if they're not, they can see where the other ones are coming from. That's my whole objective of saying geographically how they say they didn't do it, or someone else is doing it along with them, where their missiles are coming from.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So when you understand Israel, like I said, you understand the end game, understand how they what they actually doing from my perspective is America cannot put boots on the ground. So these countries that they say being hit by Iran, what it does is America got all these agreements, all these binding agreements with these countries because of their military. They'll be able to protect them from any outside source, anybody bombing them or whatever. So Israel alone, Iran is shooting missiles out, but Israel along with them is shooting missiles. So what's going to have to happen is America going to have to send boots on the ground. And that's that's the last thing they need. They're going to get bogged down. And that's what Iran wants. Israel want to bring America down. Like I say, when you understand what they want to do, they want to bring in this Pax Judaica, Israel ruling the world. America is in the way. So they killing two birds with one stone. They got all the Muslims shooting back and forth at each other, and at the same time they having to putting America in a position where they got to adhere to their agreements they got with these countries, like Dubai and U.S. whatever that country, UVC, whatever they call them, Jordan. All those countries have binding agreements with the U.S. that the U.S. military will protect them in time of war. They're not going to be nobody's going to come in and shoot them or bomb them. So America can't sit no side. They got to eventually, if this keep happening, they got to go in with boots on the ground. And so, like I was saying, what they thought they was going to do was like what they did in Venezuela. They went in, decapitated the head of the government, and shut Venezuela down. They tried to do this with Iran. It ain't working based on the system they got in place, which we were just talking about it. They got a system in place just for this situation. They've been planning this for years. And like I say, it's not going the way America wanted to go. So yeah. Anybody else got anything?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. So CBS was reporting that the Arab states in the Persian Gulf was running low on their interceptors. However, their government, like you're saying, in that region, have asked the U.S. to expedite the new supplies, like they said that they would, but they said it isn't happening. That it's like they're holding back. They're not getting it to them. So that just makes sense what you're saying about the plan.
Right, exactly.
Shalom.
In order for them to rule the world, America has to go. Just the same, it ain't nothing new. And then when you understand scripture, like the man was talking about, you had Pax Romanica, that was Rome. You had Pax Britannica. Yeah, then Pax Britannica, we went into uh, Pax Americana, where we at, and now Israel, Pax Judaica. You can see it unfolding. And Esau behind it. He a pro at it. Like I said, well, you say, how can they do that? Their model was Great Britain. It was a little bitty island, but they ruled the world. So easily Israel can do it. They got a blueprint. So with that being said, we're gonna open it up for some questions, Q&A. Anybody have any questions, any comments, anything they heard on this channel, any testimonies? Anybody got anything?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
One is about this war going on, and the other one is based on scripture. With the war, Tarshish is Spain, correct?
Yeah, you can say that.
And so Spain has been one of the only nations to openly deny joining the United States, or anybody in that matter, but in the war, the UK has agreed, France has agreed to some extent. And the moment I heard that, I actually heard it yesterday, it made me think about ships coming from Tarshish, and that was very interesting to me because I've just been painting Spain as this horrible, bad nation because of their history before now. So I just wanted to know if you had heard about that, about Spain basically saying this is an illegal war and I'm not taking any part in it.
Well, from our perspective, when you understand, like I said, they butchered our scriptures and I butchered the understanding that was given us by the Lord of hosts through our prophets. So when you understand that, it's not, like I said, 10 kings that's going to come to the Antichrist at the end. It's 10, the four beasts transformed itself 10 different times. Well, right after the Roman Empire ruled, when the Roman Empire went, Spain ruled the world. Before Spain, when you go to the Nina, the Pina, the Santa Maria, and all that, they ruled the world. So you say, what you talking about? Like I said, in 143 BC, when like it's prophesied in Daniel, he said that the Edomites is gonna come in and they was gonna subdue the Israelites and they was gonna pick up the vision. Herod came in. He went to Rome, got four different legions, came back and he subdued Israel and he built the temple. He said in 11, Daniel 11 and 14, they're gonna pick up the vision. They built the temple, Herod temple. Then in 143 BC, Israelites was kicked out in 143. They picked it up, built it, everything Daniel said, built the temple. Then in 70 AD, they was ran out. But where did they go? The Edomites, they sent them to Spain. Herod and his lineage went to Spain. And that's where you see everything that happened in the world from to today, to the West, started in Spain. Edomites. They came here. When George Washington got in got in the pickle, with the Revolutionary War, he had to go to the Jews. They was already here. They still in the same place. Boston, Massachusetts, all that area. So they've already ruled the world from Spain. So all they doing is, like I said, he told them in Malachi, they said he told them he's gonna kick them out, and he did, but they said we're gonna return. So when you go all the way around from the near the Penal of Santa Maria, all the way around back here to America and all that, they showed back up, like they said, in 1948. And they trying to do what we're looking at. They trying to rebuild a temple. They want to rule the world from Jerusalem. They're long all them rule the world. Spain ruled it. And a lot of people can't put that into history. And a lot of people don't even know that. But yeah, everything we're dealing with today it come out of Spain. The transatlantic slave trade. Spain and Portugal. It just came from Spain and came down where we was at on the West Coast. Edomites. Like I say, they the ones killed Julius Caesar. It's hard to even imagine, but they killed Julius Caesar. And when you really start digging, you'll find out they killed JFK. So yeah. Anybody
Yes.
got anything on that? Any other questions?
Shalom. Well, I just want to just kind of make a comment and see if I'm going in that direction. What you just said, the when we talked about last night out of Jubilee and the evil spirits and Satan and all of that goes back to the earth and ruling. So these Edomites that you talk about is is trying to rule the world by way of that dictatorship they started in all those countries, yet the US didn't ever abide to that. So that to me is a part of this prophecy and a part of the spiritual warfare that's going on, that they're trying to do all of this in such a time period as they think that they can do this temple and make all of this happen. Shalom.
Right. So yeah, so when you go to like I said, there's so much information that's we've been brainwashed to not deal with. And the information that we don't need to deal with, we embracing it. And then we trying to rightly divide the scriptures and deal with the end times and all that when we have our information discombobulated. We ain't got we reading the wrong stuff and embracing the wrong stuff. So Ezra, second Ezra, the vision, the Lord of Hosts gave second Ezra a more in-depth understanding of the four beasts than he gave Daniel. And he says that at the very end, it's three heads gonna be left. Two little wings that came over from the 12 wings, two left. We looking right at it. Russia and China, Gog and Magog. That's Ezekiel 38. It's all over the scriptures. But it says that it's three left, but it's two little wings that came over. Then it says right at the very end, the head, it was a rested head. The head in the middle was resting. So what head is that? Well, we're looking at the scriptures now. What's the head he's talking about? These Edomites. They've been behind the scenes. Now all of a sudden that head is raising up. And it
Yes,
said that
sir.
head raised up and it ate the kingdom up on the left side and it ate the kingdom up on the right side. And that's packed Judea to me all day long. And that's what we're looking at because nobody assumed these Edomites had those capabilities, but it awakened. So it was sleep. Well, it ruled before. It was sleep. It's awakening. Now it's showing, it's flexing its muscles. Like the guy said, in the last year, Israel has attacked 8 countries. That's the head. Okay. All we gotta do is keep watching. But like I say, people listen in the wrong places, in the wrong books, listen to the wrong people. Okay. So with that being said, anybody else got anything else? Yeah, I'll play this and then I'll play my
Brother
my question. Somebody got something?
Yes, sir. My scriptural question came from Leviticus, and I'm sorry it's all over the place, so I'm going to summarize. In Leviticus 18 and verse 19, we read that there's no sex during the period for a female. So this is all female stuff. No sex during a period. And then in Leviticus 20, verse 18, if a male and a female do engage in such a thing, they both will be cut off. Then in Leviticus 12, 1 through 5, those verses in that chapter, we learned that specifically when a female gives birth, she will be unclean as if she's during her time, during her period, for a specific number of days, depending on whether she had a male or a female child. And Leviticus then goes on to say somewhere else, I could not remember before I got on in the class today, basically whatever blood, regardless of why it's coming out of you, is like you're on your period, even if you're not. So the verse I'm going to read now is Leviticus 15, verse 24. And it says, and if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. And I had two thoughts, and I wanted to know what that means. My thought was, okay, she's bleeding and he literally is next to her, or this happens. I'm sorry if it's TMI for some people listening. They are in the middle of everything, the period starts. So I'm wanting to know, we know they need to be cut off if both the male and the female know she's bleeding. But what is this verse telling us? That if a man lies with the female and blood is on him, he's unclean 7 days. Is it just literally lying, or is it actually uncovering her and having sex?
Well, it says the flower, right? That's an encounter.
Yes, sir.
So that means he penetrated her. The flower, which is the menstruation, and then it's not only that, it's the semen, which means he's unclean. That's why he's saying wash. But you even go to what happened with, and this is where a lot of people go wrong at. He goes to look, he killed Judah three sons, right?
Yes, sir.
Because they pulled out. So when you look at all that, you don't even have you shouldn't even have intentions on even having an encounter with a woman unless you're trying to have a seed. There's no such thing as getting pleasure out of just the sexual part of it. The whole objective is to go. He said, you go back to the beginning. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." That's the objective. So
right.
like I said, this is what I mean by they butchered our scriptures and got us off track. So all this money that they making off contraceptives and all that had nothing to do with us. So what is distorted your mind to think that you can have sexual pleasure and then do all these options they got. But in the Old Testament, he killing Negroes for pulling out. See what I'm saying?
Yes,
that's just one example of it. So all this added to it, the whole understanding been diluted. And the whole time, the Israelite, male and the female, they ain't seen. They defiled. And they started thinking that they blessed, or the creator is here doing this with them. No. You defiled. You're doing stuff that's defiling. Okay, yeah. That's how they go. And we at that point where those things has to be dealt with, and not only that, it has to be dealt with. The Creator is he's bringing the information to the light through through the knowledge and the scriptures that they've hid from us, or that they bamboozled.
Yes, sir. I can tell you, Brother Leonard, I've heard in churches, and it's weird that it would even come up in church, but I have heard in churches, especially like the big mega ones and the online ones, where they make like little blogs, and it'll have things like that. Is it okay to have sex while on your
Right,
period? And it'll blatantly put, there's nothing in the Bible.
right,
Some of them will simply put Christianity, there's nothing against that, but some will blatantly put there's nothing in the Bible against that. A man and a woman can do whatever they want once they're married. And I'm just like, oh, that is,
right.
man.
What they call that? The bed is undefiled.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So, even like I mentioned this before in a couple of other videos, but it's a thing that, and women know, especially older women know, that it's a certain time of the body that your sexual organ, it drops. So that's the Creator telling you right there, it's over. But they didn't, like I say, what they do with contraceptives and all that, they go to the doctor and then he pick it back up, lift it back up. But the Creator got it. It's a fail fruit plan where it dropped. It's hammer time. It's over. Well, we started trying to make it right with Botox, all these different things you got in place that's telling you certain things is over. It's hammer time, but they didn't game up with ways to bypass that. That's not scripture. That's actually defiling. But we still going on thinking that it's okay. Okay. Yeah. So with that, that's just one example. Well, but yeah. Anybody else got anything? Any other questions they want to talk about or answers? Or anything they want to shine a light on? Okay, here we go. Let me play this.
All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Hope everybody out there is having a great day, but the world certainly isn't. We are currently looking at a disastrous situation unfolding in the Middle East. Of course, Netanyahu and Donald Trump decided to launch an illegal and offensive war against Iran, a country that didn't attack us, wasn't going to attack us, was no threat to us whatsoever. In fact, they had agreed to our nuclear demands, and we attacked them anyway. And of course, we refer to this war as the Jeffrey Epstein War, and it's currently escalating out of control. And we have new horrifying videos that hit the timeline seemingly every minute. So I'll give you updates on that. We also have a geopolitical expert who says that Trump is caught in an escalation trap and that the Iran war is already lost. This is what the experts are saying. Right. This is what they're saying. We also have a former CIA analyst who tells the truth about the Grand Ayatollah that they don't want you to know, that they've been trying to hide from you. Also, later on, Trump directly calls out Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly for being disloyal as MAGA crumbles around him. And of course, we have Fox News idiots who are currently saying the exact opposite of the experts, namely that the U.S. has already won the Jeffrey Epstein war. So we'll talk about all that and more. Later on, we have Asmongold, also known as Asmine Kampf, getting worse and worse by the day. We have an amazing poll on abolishing ICE. It is now officially the moderate position. All right, y'all. You guys know the drill, man. Everybody do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. That helps out a lot. That helps out a lot. It costs you absolutely nothing. You can also support the show on Patreon and support Crystal Comments on Substack and subscribe to Corn's World, where we do live Common Core episodes every Monday night. All right. First, let me show you guys this. when I say it's the worst of the worst, I mean it. It's the worst of the worst out there. You now have, you know, Secretary of War Crimes Pete Breath. He's giving press conferences and he's saying like, where death and destruction is being rained on the enemy from the sky. And then you look and you say, oh shit, you dropped bombs on a girls' school and murdered like 180 7 to 12-year-old girls. So like you're bragging about doing Nazi-like shit. You're bragging about murdering little girls. Like this is where we're at in this country. We're undergoing complete moral collapse under the Trump regime. I mean, it is disgusting. Honestly, it's disgusting. And whenever people used to say, oh, that stuff can't happen here, it's happening right now. So whenever you ask the question, I wonder what I would have been doing during the rise of.
So look at the name of the video. It's geopolitical experts say Trump is calling an escalation trap. That's what I was just talking about. They bombing all these different places, and they think God it ain't just Iran. These Mossad behind it. They doing it too. And they turn and Trump caught in it. But, you know, behind the scenes. These Edomites playing both sides. And but the whole thing is they, like I say, they want to bring the whole system down, and then when the smoke clears, there they are. Pax Judaica. Okay.
The Nazis.
And they can build a temple.
Now you have an answer, because we're going through the modern day iteration of that. So let me show you this. This is from Clash Report. It says apocalyptic scenes in Tehran, nonstop U.S.-Israeli airstrikes. So this massive city, over 10 million people in Tehran, and they're currently engaged in relentless carpet bombing. So the model that they used in Gaza is exactly what they're using in Tehran, namely, let's just kill anybody and everybody. And so as we told you, the goal never even was simply just regime change. The goal is to make Iran a failed state, to make it so it's balkanized and there's civil war and there's death and destruction, so Israel can create a greater Israel. So Israel can have regional domination and hegemony. That's what's going on here. And remember,
anytime you hear greater Israel, that's temple included. Okay.
Pedophile blackmailed president. They held it over his head, all the tapes, all the videos, and that is likely why he ended up agreeing to this. Not that he's not a warmonger anyway, he is, but there's all the evidence in the world to suggest, indeed, Netanyahu did blackmail him into this. But look at the sorts of videos that we're getting these days, man. Holy shit.
What? So I don't know if anybody heard about that, but it's going around that Epstein, right? He had dual citizenship. He Edomite, so he had given the Israeli government tapes on Trump back when the pedophile thing going on, and he's using them to control Trump with it, and it make all the sense in the world. But anyway, keep going.
Jesus Christ, man. And that's all day and all night. That's what they've been seeing. Adam Johnson says the following. I wrote about how the U.S. and Israel carried out an attack on an Iranian girls' school on par with the OKC bombing, and U.S. media relegated it to a back page story. No evening news segments, no front page stories. It made A11 in the New York Times, and then everyone moved on. And that right there is the problem, y'all. That right there is the moral collapse that I'm talking about. And that's also facilitated by our pathetic, disgusting media that doesn't understand how to calibrate their moral meter. You would think if one of our girls' schools got bombed by Iran or China or Russia, and over 150 young American girls were murdered, I think we'd be talking about that kind of nonstop. But since they're Iranian, it somehow doesn't count. Well, I feel like it should count just as much, especially since Israel and the U.S., we carried it out. We carried out the attacks. So, like, we're kind of responsible. Our tax dollars went to that shit. And you guys aren't talking about it? I mean, it's just absolutely grotesque. So as we're witnessing war crime after war crime, we have Professor Robert Pape, who went on Sky News, and he delivered a devastating assessment of what's currently happening and where we're at in this war.
I have studied every air campaign since World War I. This is my specialty. I spent 3 years teaching conventional targeting strategy for the U.S. Air Force. I've studied leadership decapitation in detail. I've modeled the bombing of Bordeaux, the regime change in Iran for 20 years. So this is something I know quite a bit about. And literally 10 days ago, I started on Substack, The Escalation Trap, because I worried exactly watching the Armada being built, we would fall into the escalation trap, and that's what's happened. We are now in the grip of the escalation trap, or the smart bomb trap to be more precise, where the illusion of the 100% tactical success, which is real, it's the success of the bombs blowing up the targets is not false. It creates the illusion of control of escalation. And that is the smart bomb trap, and that is what has gripped us right now. And the problem is that once we drop those bombs and once we announce regime change is our goal, and we had no other tools, trying to do this from the air, this has never worked in over 100 years. This is not like it works sometimes or rarely works. I'm choosing my words carefully. President Trump is up against the weight of history here. And it's the illusion of the smart bombs being near perfect in destroying their target. And the problem is when those bombs fall, they change politics in the target. They inject nationalism into the regime. They inject nationalism into the society. And they essentially fuse the regime and society against the air power attacker. And this is what you are seeing, because now society and the regime are taking more risky steps. And they do things that no one anticipated before. And that failure to anticipate the worst case, that has happened numerous times with smart bombs. That's just what happened in the last 36 hours.
That is it.
So that's how it works. Like I was saying, who knows that though? But anyway, you want to watch this. All of it is Iran war is lost. Geopolitical experts say Trump is calling the escalation trap. So this is what I mean when I say these Edomites is super sharp. You off doing something, they got something else going on. Okay? And this is what they've been doing ever since they came on the scene. The Bible tells us if Jacob ain't ruling, he ruling. But they want you to think somebody else ruling the whole time. They've been behind the scenes ruling and writing down, taking notes, drawing up blueprints. They know just what to do and when to do it. Okay? And that's what we're looking at. Okay, so with that being said, I'll post this video, matter of fact. Anyway, so it's let me play this. This is my topic for discussion. And then we'll go into scripture reading. Okay, here we go.
States and their bombing of Tehran and other places in Iran could turn into something that is a regional conflict that could go global at any second, at any time. Well, all this talk about us putting boots on the ground here.
So like I said, people have no idea this whole Abraham Tory thing. Keep watching that. Watch how that unfold.
In America, in Iran, and all of the damage that's being done to our neighbors, the Gulf states, places that are producing our oil, the shutting down of the Gulf of Hormuz. It's easy to forget that when it comes to the possibility of World War III, Africa and the Black diaspora is very much in that world and will very much be affected, as we have been, and in all of the world wars prior to this, right? So let's not pretend that somehow we will go unscathed. Because a lot of Black folks in America are looking at the fact that, yes, back in the day, right, 13 Black American hostages was released by Iran, right? And that is something that kind of is a token of the fact that, like, Iran don't directly want to smoke with Black Americans, right? And if you're smart, nobody should, but I digress. The facts is that if there's boots on the ground and a third of the armed forces are Black Americans, guess what? Somebody who look like us gonna die. But more than that,
Africa has its own crisis when it comes to how the fallout from this regional conflict in the Middle East could end up affecting their energy prices, could end up affecting their cost of living, and things that Africa economically might be too fragile to maintain their status quo as they're rising up. And the fact that nobody ever talked about what Iran's relationship was with the Sahel Alliance. But let's see if the African Union's report could give a broad sense of what this conflict could mean to the continent. Check this out.
Intensifying military action in the Middle East will have serious consequences for Africa, the West African Economic Community, ECOWAS, has said in a statement. ECOWAS joins the African Union in expressing deep concern over the conflict, which began when Israel and the US launched strikes against Iran early on Saturday. Africa and other vulnerable regions will be particularly affected, ECOWAS said. Senegal's Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko has also warned of serious economic disruptions for the African continent. With 30 to 40% of the world's oil transit going through the Strait of Hormuz, Sonko said the conflict could lead to a surge in energy prices and a widespread increase in the cost of living. Morocco, meanwhile, has activated a crisis unit to address the concerns of Moroccans living in the Middle East. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it's closely monitoring developments in the region and made telephone numbers available to its expatriate community. In a statement on Saturday, the African Union called for restraint, urgent de-escalation, and sustained dialogue. The conflict has serious implications for energy markets, food security, and economic resilience, AU Chairman Mahmoud Ali Yusuf said.
That's a lot, but I think that we need to delve into this a little further, especially when it comes to the Sahel Alliance and the fact that a lot of people didn't talk about that the Shah of Iran had a great connection with Ibrahim Traore, because if it was against the West's imperialism and domination and the fact that they share Islam in common, they was going to reach out to you. And that is exactly what happened. So let's check out what foreignpolicy.com has to say about Iran and its African connections. Its very first paragraph is Iran's African proxies. And it says, as the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran escalates, Africa is bracing for the ripple effects of a wide-ranging regional conflict. Analysts are paying particular attention, listen to this, to the Sahel, where Iran has positioned itself as a security partner to the hunter-led nations, including Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and their fight against jihadist groups. Now, of course, they want to frame it as their fight against jihadist groups. But Ibrahim Traore and all the brothers in the Sahel Alliance have been saying these so-called jihadis is low-key Western operatives, specifically from France. And Iran was about to back them with some sweet military technology. And as you can see, Iran's missile game ain't no joke. And so this would mean that if they was arming Africa with these same munitions, Africa might be able to do the same damage that Iran is doing to Israel and America's Gulf partners right now. Now, this paragraph that I'm about to read to you is symptomatic of something that I feel that a lot of people who are afraid of this conflict may forget, that this conflict might benefit Africa if we are watching historical patterns repeat themselves. And I'm going to explain these historical patterns once I read this article's paragraph to you. But check out what this says. The current conflict, however, is likely to distract Western attention away from the Sahel, where the United States recently assumed counterterrorism support and forced Tehran to prioritize retaining its weaponry for domestic survival. This may lead to an uptick in Islamist violence in the region, as well as Sahelian states increasingly turning to Russia and Turkey for drones and other military equipment. So what does this mean in the historical pattern I was talking about? If you look at the timing of when Africa began to fight for its independence, you see that the real push for it began in the 50s and continued on into the 60s. And that was because of what happened to the colonizers in the 40s, which was World War II. Imagine you in Africa looking up, seeing all your colonizers shooting at themselves. Can you imagine what Africans was going through at that time? They're looking at, yo, France, is shooting at Hitler, and then England is shooting at them too, and then like Italy is in the mix of this, and Ethiopia is like, that's cool with me because I don't need them having all the bullets they used to have. And then they fight it out in Africa, looking at it like, yeah, okay, cool. Now that y'all ammunitions is spent, give us free out here. You know what I'm saying? That's what could happen here. And the reason that makes me think that this could be a situation that if Africa can endure the economic shocks, could open the door for Africa's continued liberations. It has everything to do with the end of the paragraph and how they said that the Sahelian states might start looking to Russia and Turkey to get their munitions. My question is there a push inside of Africa to make?
So you heard that? Remember what we just talked about? They said that Iran was bombing Turkey. See, now you see why they trying to do that. Okay.
Manufacture weapons for themselves? The answer is yes. When I first started with the African Diaspora News Channel, I actually did a story about how Nigeria was beginning to manufacture its very own weaponized drones, right? And they were indigenously manufactured. As the manufacturing capacity increases throughout the African continent, one of the things that history has taught Africans is that they must be militarily competent. If you ain't militarily competent, if your modern technology game is lacking in the field of battle, you can look at history repeating itself the moment they try to run up on you and throw that smoke your way.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay, so like I said before, my scripture reading is, let me play this. Okay. It's about Noah and the fall. I'm gonna play it. Okay, here we go. I'll play a little bit of it at the beginning, then I want to go to the meat because of something was said. Then I was like, want to know where she gets this from.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
Last week's message about the children of the giants was an important message that needed to be heard. The seed of Adam is having a hard time comprehending the origin of the other species of mankind. One of the many reasons they are having a difficult time with the origin of the other kind of a man, the falsehoods of the Satans are deceiving them. The synagogue of Satan have been telling lies from the beginning that each generation that comes are further removed from the truth. With the lies of the Satans being promoted in the beast system, real history as well as the truth was buried. That is why the Most High had to send the gospel of the kingdom into the world before the end come to reverse the lies being told by the Satans through the spiritual wickedness in high places. There's no truth in your leaders that are under the control of the Satans. The native language of the Satans are lies.
Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
Israelites and Gentiles, don't expect your enemies that rule over you to tell you the truth about themselves and your history.
Exactly.
Lying is their native language, and they would tell you lies if that would keep you under their control. In addition to Satan's deceptions in the beast culture, our spirits is having trouble processing the origin to the other kind of a man. Some people from the seed.
Notice she said the beast culture. So it ain't about no Antichrist coming and bringing in no beast system. We in it already. Okay.
Of men are using man's wisdom to comprehend the great abomination that took place when the watchers procreated with the daughters of men. Although the scriptures speak about the infiltration that took place in the man's creation, some people are ignoring this crucial time that took place in the seed of man's history. When the sons of God left the heavens to marry the daughters of men to make children of their own, this truth cannot be ignored nor erased from history. I know the head leaders of the church wanted to erase this event from our mind. That is why they banned the book of Enoch and slandered the book of Enoch to discourage you from reading the book of Enoch and the truth it revealed about the descendants of the giants that live among us today. To the entire seed of Adam, it is very important for you to work out your own salvation.
Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure.
Israelites and Gentiles, stop believing every word that comes out of the mouth of your enemies as facts. The scriptures let us know in the book of Job that the earth is in the hands of the wicked.
Exactly.
Since the earth is in the hands of the wicked, we shouldn't rely on the wisdom of this world to educate us about our history and origin. If the institutions of the beast system was of the Most High, the spirit of confusion wouldn't have a stronghold on the people. The scriptures let us know that the Most High is not the author of confusion. The spirit of confusion is loose in the beast culture because the spiritual wickedness in high places are trying to hide many things. If the workers of iniquity didn't change history and alter the scriptures, the spirit of confusion wouldn't have a stronghold on the minds of the people. The beast system is rooted in lies. That is why a time is coming when the people will admit they have inherited lies.
O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and shall say, Truly, our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
Israelites and Gentiles, did you hear the prophecies written in the book of Jeremiah about the Gentiles inheriting lies? The Gentiles are not the only group of people that inherited lies. The Israelites also inherited lies, so much lies that they have forgotten their heritage and giving their heritage away to the other kind of a man. If not, it takes two of the same kind to duplicate itself.
Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed. Neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee.
So right here.
Are you starting a business? Do you need a logo? Design.com offers.
1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Okay.
Noah's sons are of 3 different races. A large population of Israelites.
So you don't do what she was just reading is the creator, these angels. They don't sideball, go offshoot. It's like a verse. A verse can be mingled. They don't even deal with mingled verses. That's not talking about mingled people. Okay? Check it out.
The awakening believe this lie to be true. They've assigned Japheth and Esau's bloodline to whiteness. They believe Japheth is a white man. Israelites and Gentiles, the time have come for you to stop letting the doctrines of men deceive you. We must put an end to this falsehood. All 3 of Noah's sons are from the seed of men. They are black men. Noah and his wife, the mother to his children, are not from a mixed background.
Exactly.
They're 100% from the seed of men.
Albino.
The scripture said Noah resembled the children of the angels, but he wasn't one of them. And he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike men, and resembling the sons of the God of heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us. And his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I fear that in his days a wonder may be wrought on the earth. And now, my Father, I am here to petition thee and implore thee that thou mayest go to Enoch, our father, and learn from him the truth, for his dwelling place is among the angels. And I, Enoch, answered and said to him, the Lord will do a new thing on earth, and this I have already seen in a vision and made known to you. For in the generation of my father, Jared, some from the heights of heaven transgress the words of the Lord. And behold, they commit sin and transgress the law, and have been promiscuous with women, and commit sin with them, and have married some of them, and have begotten children by them. And now make known to your son Lamech that the one who has been born is truly his son, and call his name Noah, for he will be a remnant for you, and he and his sons will be saved from the destruction which is coming on the earth because of all the sin and all the iniquity which will be committed on the earth in his days. If Noah was a Nephilim, the scriptures would have revealed it. Noah just resembled the children of the angels. His parents are of the seed of man with no admixture. Noah lived in the beginning and lived to be 950 years old. Noah lived for 350 years after the flood. The life expectancy in those days was much longer than today. Noah's father is Lamech, the son of Methuselah. The Bible gave us the genealogy of Noah that leads back to Adam.
And Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, this same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed.
As you can see, there was no admixture in Noah's bloodline. Some people question the genealogy of the wife of Noah. Black women are the only group of people that was given the ability to make children with various features. That means the Black woman had the genetic makeup as the mother to all living to born the various features of the seed of man and mankind. Black women is the link between both species of man. If the Black woman procreate with the Black man, she is making another man. If she procreate with the other species of mankind, she is making mankind. Remember, the Watchers used the daughters of men to create the Nephilim. Noah's wife was indeed a Black woman from the seed of man. The book of Joshua revealed her genealogy. And the Lord said unto Noah, take unto thee a wife, and beget children, for I have seen thee righteous before me in this generation. And thou shalt raise up seed, and thy children with thee in the midst of the earth. And Noah went and took a wife, and he chose Naamah, the daughter of Enoch, and she was 580 years old. The scriptures not only told us Noah's wife's name, it revealed who her father was. Enoch was the father of Naamah, the wife of Noah. Enoch is not of the seed of the fallen. You can trace Enoch's bloodline back to Adam.
And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 360.
So we're going somewhere, but right now they on this before the flood. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute.
In 5 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him.
If you follow the genealogy listed in the book of Genesis, chapter 5, found in the Bible, you will see that Noah and Enoch's bloodline leads back to Adam. Adam is the blueprint to the seed of men.
Okay.
Israelites and Gentiles, there's no admixture found in our fathers that was predestined by the Most High to carry the bloodline of Adam. The Most High is not going to use the seed of mankind in that way.
Exactly.
The Father will use the other species of mankind for destruction. That is their purpose on this earth, to create offenses and destruction.
Okay.
I can't believe the sleep apnea pillow exists, so I almost made the dumbest mistake of my life.
Okay. Okay.
Do battle and work destruction on earth and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. That is why the Nephilims were great warriors, and the seed of man used them in their armies. I hope you understand why they are the men of renown. They were used for destruction. Israelites and Gentiles, let the Spirit of truth do its work in you. The job of the Spirit of truth is to put an end to the lies told in the beast system. Every doctrine of devil that is not of the Most High will be exposed. Because the earth is in the hands of the wicked, they cannot view Black people as anything great because of our position all over the world. Because the other kind of a man is ruling, some people have no problem associating them with greatness. Despite their behavior, have revealed nothing but violence all over the world. The scripture is correct when they say, by their fruits you shall know them.
Wherefore, by their fruits you shall know them.
Okay.
Violence and destruction is associated with the other species of mankind in the scriptures. Noah's wife wasn't a white woman, nor was Noah a white man. Whiteness is not a part of the seed of men. The scriptures confirm the origin of both Noah and his wife. All three of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, are Black men. If you are what your father is, the paternity of the sons of Noah shouldn't be questioned. Race didn't exist in the generation of Noah. Identifying a person by race started around 17th and 18th centuries by the other species of mankind to put an order in their various subspecies in their community, as well as to justify the other species of mankind's dominion on this earth. Dark-skinned or richly melanated person with woolly hair is the signature look of the seed of men, Blackness. Anything outside of that is mankind or human. Some people question the wives of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The scriptures also reveal their identity in the book of Joshua. Noah's sons married three sisters.
This is what I was saying right here. Check it out.
Then Noah took the three daughters of Eliakim, son of Methuselah, for wives for his sons, as the Lord had commanded Noah. The wives to Noah's sons are of the seed of man that descend from Methuselah, who is also Noah's grandfather. As you can see, Israelites and Gentiles, no mixing in the family tree of Noah. The doctrine of Shem, Ham, and Japheth being of three different races is false doctrine. Ask the Most High for the spirit of discernment. Japheth's bloodline is not spoiled. The Most High said he would enlarge Japheth, the Black man.
God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant.
The words of the Most High won't ever return to him void. His words will do what he sent it to do. Japheth's bloodline is still here, and it's not whiteness. The seed of the fallen did not overcome the entire bloodline of Japheth, nor the Edomites. Before the need.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Yeah. So I hadn't shine no light on that. That the book of Enoch is actually giving you the father of the three wives of Noah's son. Okay. So anybody got any comment on that or any questions?
Shalom. So when she mentioned about the sons all being of melanated skin Black men, so Shem, I know Ham, but the other two that was saying that there wasn't of Noah's sons, or Ham wasn't of Noah's son, only Japhet. So now it is all of them were Noah's sons.
Right, but we know that's wrong because of today. We looking at today, you know that ain't right. I mean, you know, my point was to show you how that they showing you actually in the book of Enoch that who their daughters was. But anyway, I mean, the father of these girls was. And then, like I say, you have to understand the seed is men. So, but anyway, he says that Japhat, right, dwell in the tents of Shem. Well, Japhat in the tents of Shem right now. Is they black? Hello?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. That's how we know it ain't true. She all. But I just didn't want to shine a light on it. But you know what I'm saying? And yeah, but we can see today. Let me read something right quick. Okay. It's in the book of the Apocryphal. Yeah, right here. I'm gonna read it. So it says right here. Okay. And like I said, we can look at the names in the table of nations in Genesis 10. The names they give you for Japheth's sons, they white to this very day. So yeah, but anyway, it says I'm in First Maccabees. Okay. This is the reason I say that I'm gonna start doing something at noontime so I can go in because yeah, it's things that I need to go back and deal with because yeah, right here. Let me see. Wait a minute. Okay, First Maccabees. Yeah. Right here, First Maccabees. So it says right here. It tells us in Genesis 10, Japhet, who they names, they white folks to this day. So I'm in First Maccabees, chapter 1. Came to pass Alexandra of Macedon, son of Philip, who came from the land of Checham. They white. We know that today. They had utterly defeated Darius, the king of the Medes and Persia, that he reigned in his stead, and that he had before reigned over Greece. And he waged many wars and captured fortresses, slaughtered the kings of the earth, and he made his way to the ends of the earth and despoiled many nations. Like, this is my point right here. The whole earth was silent before him. It's a white man, and he became exalted, and his heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army, and he ruled over lands and rulers of heathens, and they paid him a tribute. Afterwards, he fell sick, and he knew that he was going to die. So he called in his distinguished servants who had been brought up with him, and divided his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Alexander had reigned 12 years, and he died. Now here you go, my point. His servants succeeded him, each in his own dominion. After his death, they all put on crowns, as did their sons after them, for many years. Now here you go, for many years, and they did much evil on the earth. It's Cain lineage. Japhet. See that? Okay, and then it says, there sprang from them a sinful shoot named Antiochus Epiphanes, son of King Antiochus. He had been the hostage in Rome, and he became king in the 137th year of the Greek kingdom. So this is Japhet. They white now, so that means they was white right here. So that's what y'all. Okay. They doing wickedness. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Yes, sir. My thoughts were some of the things that you mentioned that in her speaking she left out Cain.
You don't understand that.
So Cain was completely left out of that story.
don't understand that. But it's not just her, it's a bunch of people. Like I say, they trying to right divide now when everything got hot and then everything an uptick. Now they trying to rightly divide the scriptures, but they don't understand what happened in the beginning. They got stuff that like he just told us, the father of lies. So everything you dealing with when you come to them is lies. You got to go somewhere else to get the truth. You ain't getting it from them. You can't be packing nothing around they didn't gave you, because it's a lie from pit to hell. Yeah, and that's what's going on now.
Yes, sir. It seems like she does understand that there was a 6-day man and an 8-day man, but then it stops at that.
Right. And they was melanated. That's what she getting it wrong at. They was melanated. Ham was melanated. Okay. But she making it as if he was Noah's son when Noah had Shem. Shem was his son. When you go back to even you got to look at when she mentioned the reason why I'm talking about this, when it hadn't really dawned on me, but she said she named the guy that the 3 girls came from, that those 3 boys married. But you got to go back to when the Most High said he chose Noah because he's perfect in his generation. Right? So was this dude right here perfect in his generation? They had the 3 girls. The angels telling us that he chose Noah because he was perfect in his generation. But that's the story for another. That's how I deal with scriptures. So anyway, yeah. So you got to look at that. Okay. There's a dead cat on the line. But anyway, somebody got a scripture they want to play. I mean, a scripture they want to pick and read, and then we'll talk about it for a minute. We'll close out. Nobody got a scripture? Let me get one. Okay. We're going to go to Psalms chapter 2 right quick. Okay. Chapter 2, 110. Psalm 110. My bad. So it says, 110 says, and the Lord said unto my Lord, right here. This has been made hard for a lot of people, but it's simple, right? It said, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. So who is these 2 lords? The Lord of hosts, Michael, is telling David, sit at my right hand and until I deal with your enemies. And then you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, Yahweh in heaven, that's what Michael is. On the right hand side of his Lord. So that's the order of the thing. See that? So look what it says in verse 2. The Lord, Michael, shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thine enemies. That's David. Everybody around David is their enemies. The Philistines, all them enemies. So look at it. The Lord shall send the rod of his strength. David is the rod of his strength. He shall send the rod of his strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thy enemies. So that's why I'm telling you over here in Isaiah 66, and we'll close out, is when you understand that. Isaiah, you go to Isaiah 66, you know what I'm saying? And here you go. Verse 5, hear the word of the Lord. This is Michael, Lord of hosts. Ye that tremble at his word, the brethren that hated you cast you out. Back, like I said, in 143 BC, they cast you out for my name's sake, because they wanted to be the Lord. Say, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to their joy. He shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. Then here you go. Verse 6, a voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple. That's what David buried at. A voice of the Lord that rendered recompense to his enemies. How do we rule? We just read. He sent David out of Zion. to rule over his enemies. So here you go again, right here. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that renders recompense. David did right here. Now here you go, verse 7. Behold, before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pains came, she was delivered of a man-child of earth. Zion, David buried in Zion. Then the man-child of David, not Jesus, not JC. Then 8. Who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth, there go the woman, David buried in the earth. Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion, the woman, travaileth, she brought forth her children. So we see right here, like I said, you can't get out of that. It had nothing. All they did was put JC there and cause all kind of havoc. We see them doing it right now on the news. Lying. Okay. So yeah, with that being said, I want to say shalom to everybody. And we had our men's advanced Bible study tomorrow night, and the women can come in through prophets can come in through YouTube. So till tomorrow, I'll see everybody. I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. Okay.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.